worked 8 years for LSU Radio and TV before joining Fox 8, the Fox 8 News team in 1994. He has been twice awarded the Associated Press Reporter of the Year, which is impressive. He has covered trials of
Simone,
Wayne Hagan,
Simone,
Peter Galvin, Walter Reed, and many others, unfortunately.
Sir,
He attended one semester of LSU Law School and enjoyed
could you ask him to
cases
sit down?
involving good judges and good lawyers. He's married to a lovely wife named Jenny and has 2 children, a daughter who is also a reporter and a son in real estate. Please welcome Rob Masson.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. We're now going to go into the forum for the candidates for the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals. And we're just going to call Criminal Court Judge Laurie White and Civil District Court Judge Regina Bartholomew Woods to come up here and tell you a little bit about their qualifications. They are running to fill the seat being vacated by the retiring Max Tobias. Welcome, Your Honors. And we're going to start with a 2-minute opening statement and introduction from each of you, and we'll go in alphabetical order as well, which will be Judge White, if you will go first, please. Okay, Judge Woods.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much for hosting us and inviting me to attend. I am Regina Bartholomew Woods, and just a matter of housekeeping, where is the timekeeper? Just so that I remember. Thank you so much. 2 minutes. Perfect, thank you. Thank you so much. I am Regina Bartholomew Woods. I'm a judge at Civil District Court, where I was elected in 2011. My background includes service as chief lawyer for the Orleans Parish School Board, chief lawyer for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg School System, private attorney with 2 law firms, prestigious law firms, McGlinchey, Stafford, and Fisher & Phillips, as well as a trial attorney for the United States Department of Labor, where we litigated in a 5-state region, as well as service as a judicial law clerk for 3 judges simultaneously who sat in jurisdiction over matters of family law, criminal law, civil law, as well as juvenile law. And also I did a stint as a judicial law clerk for the 5th Circuit Court of Appeal. I am running for this seat because I believe that we need a judge at the Appellate Court who has a great track record on the trial court, who has a judicial temperament, and who has a deep and broad background both on the bench and in the community. I'm very involved in the community. I have lots of community activities because I believe that a judge should not just sit in ivory towers and only engage in the legal activities of the community, but should serve as mentors to our youth who are in need of mentoring. In addition to my judicial work and my community activities, I am also a wife and a mother of 3 boys who I'm very proud of. My oldest boy is serving his country at the United States Air Force Academy. My middle boy is in military boarding school in Virginia, and my little one is at Stewart Hall. Thank you so much, and I look forward to answering all questions.
So I wait for you? No? I am Judge Laurie White. I'm the Chief Judge over at Criminal District Court. I've been on that bench for 9 years. I've been a lawyer for 30 years. I was a criminal defense lawyer. I was a prosecutor. I was an insurance defense lawyer. I tried over 100 jury trials as a private lawyer, both as a prosecutor and a defense lawyer. I'm the only judge at criminal court that's been on both sides of the death penalty, both as a prosecutor and as a defense lawyer. I've tried cases, I've argued cases on direct appeal to the 4th Circuit, the Louisiana Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, where I have filed cases as well. This is an election about experience. I have insurance defense experience, plaintiff experience, family law experience. The Court of Appeal is the last place that people will have their cases reviewed. On that bench, only 1 person comes from Criminal District Court. That's why I am the candidate for that seat. Of 12 judges, only 1 on that seat, on that bench right now, has ever tried a criminal case. If 65% of the cases that are filed, criminal cases at the 4th Circuit, then you need an expert at that court. I am the expert that is needed at that court. The fact that I've started a reentry program in the 9 years that I've been on the bench is now in 14 different parishes across the state. This is a nationally recognized program, and that's what I've done in the community. I've shown the community that I don't sit in an ivory tower, and I've worked to help the community so that everyone is not thrown away in prison just because we are the most incarcerated state. I've thought out of the box and found a way to put people in jail, but with treatment, with job skills, and to get out of jail and be supervised by me with no additional funding, no additional staff, to return them to our community and to reduce victims. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go through 6 questions. You will each have 1 minute to respond to each question. And our first one is, what is your understanding of what is required of an appellate judge, and what do you think your responsibilities will be if you are elected? Judge Woods.
The responsibilities of an appellate court judge is to review the cases that are appealed to the appellate court. Not every case that's tried in district court is appealed. Only those where litigants believe that the judge or the jury got it wrong. So your job as an appellate court is to look only at the record that comes before you, decide whether or not an error of law was committed at the trial court level, and then either send it back down for correction, or depending on the type of case, you can usurp the jurisdiction of the trial court and decide on your own. And so the responsibilities of setting precedent is what we call our case law for lawyers and judges to follow for future cases. And that's what the responsibility of the appellate court is.
The appellate court is where they can have appellate jurisdiction or supervisory jurisdiction. In Orleans Parish, the district attorney's office, because they try a lot of cases, takes a lot of writs. So it hears both writ cases, in which it's a non-final decision, in which the district attorney and defense lawyer are asking the higher court to determine if that judge's ruling was proper or not. It's based on evidentiary issues, and it can change the full complexion on a case. That's why it's important to have a judge that understands criminal law, evidence, constitutional law, and they also look at direct appeals. If a lawyer wants an appeal in civil court, they have to be able to afford it. That's why there's not many appellate cases coming out of civil court. But criminal court, that's the last stop that a lawyer is free to someone that's convicted. So every case from a conviction gets appealed. That's why we need more criminal experts at that court.
Okay, second question, Judge White, let's start with you, just to vary the order a little bit. As a practicing attorney, did you ever argue before the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals? And if yes, what was the outcome?
I argued at the Fourth Circuit many, many times. I was a Louisiana appellate attorney. I handled, I think I checked Westlaw, and I have about 200 or 300 cases in which I have actually written the brief. I argued in criminal matters when it goes before the Court of Appeal. On an appeal, that's when you get oral argument. But you have to request oral argument, and that has to be done within 10 or 15 days of the actual filing of your brief. I always ask for or before your brief. I always ask for oral argument because I think more lawyers should go and argue the criminal cases to the Court of Appeals. So I've argued at the Fourth Circuit, the First Circuit, the Fifth Circuit, and the Second Circuit.
And as a follow-up, what did you learn from that experience?
That oral argument can persuade people, and I learned to be a persuasive individual. That when you're facing 3 judges and they may not understand the facts, you've got to explain your case, the facts, and how the law applies to them and why you should win.
Judge Wood?
As General Counsel of the Orleans Parish School Board, I was responsible for all of the litigation activities of all attorneys, ranging from motions filed in court to appeals filed at the appellate court. I argued before appellate courts. In a case in particular, I prevailed because I was persuasive not only in oral argument, but we all know that at the appellate court, everything is a written motion. But because of my stellar writing skills, I was actually persuasive because of that. The outcome of the cases argued before the Fourth Circuit of the attorneys whom I supervised, we didn't take an appeal if we didn't think we were going to win, so they were successful. And what did I learn from the experience? That you must be an excellent writer in order to persuade the judges on the panel at the appellate court of your position. Argument, it works the same at civil court. All of our motions are done in writing, and the argument is almost like the cherry on top. But if they already explained themselves and fully in writing, then that is what persuades the panel, and that's what persuades us as trial judges at the civil court.
And Judge Woods, if you'll take this question first, please. In your time serving as a district court judge, what impact do you think your decisions have had on the community?
I think the impact that my decisions have had has been a great impact. On the civil bench, we hear family law matters, in particular domestic violence matters. And so I know for certain that I've had a great impact on families, on the future of women and men in some cases, who were victims of domestic violence with the protective orders that I put in place. In addition, on the general docket, we hear matters ranging from, and you all read about it in the news, anything from the Tom Benson case all the way down to the firefighters. And so the impact that we all have as civil district court judges is great on the community in terms of righting wrongs, civil rights and civil wrongs that are had by people, by corporations. And to that end, most of the appeals that are filed at the Fourth Circuit are civil appeals. They are not criminal appeals, and those statistics are found on the Louisiana Supreme Court website. That's not something that I've made up, but you can actually go to lasc.org and get those exact statistics.
In your time serving as a district court judge, what impact do you think your decisions have had on the community?
All right, thank you. You know, a judge does still have discretion at some level, and especially in criminal court. My decisions on a bond, whether someone is going to be released to the community, whether someone gets treatment. Just today I had to do an order so that someone could be taken to the hospital today because he was hearing voices. But I was able to work with the sheriff's office to make sure that that person was not arrested and sent in jail for several days before they would be taken to a hospital. He's out on bond. He is someone that needs treatment. I do that every day. We have to find treatment and not just lock people up. I look at the entire individual in 40 to 50 cases, almost 3 days a week. That many cases, other days less numbers. I started a reentry program. I've helped numerous people and prevented victims with the reentry program. This impact has been so big, it's now continued, and the program's expanded to 14 parishes, and I was the one that developed this program, and that's been recognized nationally.
And Judge White, if you'll take this question first, please. What qualifications will you look for in hiring clerks for the court?
Someone that can write and research, and that doesn't come in with a decision already made up before they finish reading something. It's almost like looking for a juror, somebody that's not biased in what they're looking at. I've always made it a habit to keep law clerks only about 1 to 2 years because I think they need to learn how to write, how to read, how to think logically, how to work with the court, how to see things many times, even if someone is someone that you may not like or you may be worried about whether you want them back on the street. It's about what their case is, the facts and the law, and that's what you have to look at. So my law clerk needs to be someone that's going to show me all sides of the law, the case law that's controlling to me, as well as case law if it's different in other circuits. So you have to have a judge that not only knows the law, but isn't afraid to follow the law.
The qualifications that I look for in a law clerk are the exact same qualifications that I look for in a law clerk currently. I want a smart law student graduate who's a lawyer, who has graduated, and who's not afraid to challenge me if they believe that the direction that I'm headed in is the wrong direction. You know, it's easy as a judge to say, well, I want a law clerk who's going to agree with everything that I say, but then that does not make you a very good jurist. You want someone who's going to come in and challenge you intellectually so that they can either, you can see their side of what's going on, or they can understand why you want to rule the particular way you want to rule. So I just will use the same process that I currently use and select really good students in law school.
And Judge Woods, if you keep the mic, please. In the judiciary, mistakes are made that may not affect the outcome of a case, but nonetheless they need to be addressed. What would you do to ensure the lower court will not continue a cycle of error?
Are you talking about harmless error? Is that what it sounds like?
It says, yeah, mistakes are made that may not affect the outcome of a case, but nonetheless need to be addressed.
So when an appellate court looks or reviews the decisions of a trial court, there are two types of errors, either reversible error or harmless error. And that's what this question seems to be getting at, whether or not if there's harmless error, what can you do? Well, there's such a thing called the binding rule of law in cases, and then there's something called dicta. Well, in dicta, you can state certain things, well, the trial court did X, Y, or Z. However, we don't find that it's reversible error. We only find that it's harmless error. So in that dicta language, you can direct the trial court, and it happens when you get a decision from an appellate court now. They'll drop a footnote, the judge may drop a footnote, or the panel may drop a footnote saying, the judge did X, Y, or Z. It's not clear why they did this, but the law says da-da-da-da. So you can actually educate the judge for future matters. It won't affect the outcome, but you can educate them in that decision in what's called the dicta portion of the opinion.
Dicta's not law. You have to give an opinion that's clear and concise and cite to the lower court in your decision why they're wrong. Many times the Fourth Circuit says writ granted, writ denied. That's something that I have as my platform going to the Fourth Circuit. They don't even say whose writ is granted or whose writ is denied. So in order to show what's going on, many times, whether it's the court's problem or the lawyer's problem or the evidence, it's usually in a writ or otherwise where you can correct that by ruling on a writ. In an appeal, you need to make sure that you outline why someone is being reversed. If it's a trial court error versus a ruling by a trial court on evidence, or a prosecutor comment, or a prosecutor using evidence that was prejudicial. So there's many different reasons when a case is reversed, why something would be reversed. The fact that you have written decisions coming from the Fourth Circuit to lower courts is why you have to be clear and concise so that everybody can understand it.
Again, Judge White, keep the mic, please. Final question. How would you propose to address processes at the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals that are ineffective or problematic?
That's something I was just talking about. We're, as Chief Criminal Court, we're meeting with the Fourth Circuit because there is so much writ practice at Criminal District Court that our trials are delayed. So in order to speed up the use of the writ practice, we could actually work to change the law that in the middle of a case when a jury is sitting upstairs, not at their jobs and not getting lunch, that the writ doesn't take 2 or 3 days and we have to send a jury out and bring them back in. We could either shorten the time frame or maybe order that some of those rulings or writs be held to a direct appeal. That would make things much more efficient, and also using what I had said before, putting down from the Fourth Circuit back to the different courts who's writ, who's appeal, who the parties are, because it becomes unclear. In some cases, with 4 or 5 writs taken in the middle of a trial, and it says writ granted, you don't know whose writ it was. Was it the defense or was it the prosecution? That simple act would clear up a lot of misunderstanding from the Fourth Circuit's rules.
One of the processes that I believe needs to be changed on the appellate court is the time within which the court takes to decide a writ or decide an appeal. Sometimes we may have a decision that ends in an appeal because a certain portion of the case has been resolved on the district court level, but we can't move forward to a full trial on the remaining issues because we're waiting for the appellate court to hand down a ruling. And so one of the things that I'm very interested in, because it slows justice down for the litigants and for the lawyers, is trying to figure out how we can improve the process of efficiency to get cases sent back down with the final decision to the district court. So that's one of the main things that I'm looking to challenge or change once I can get there and understand how it's working first.
This session's going quick. Judges, if you would, your 2 minutes for a closing statement, and I guess Judge Woods, please. Judge White.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a race that's not about who's endorsed you. It's not about who your favorite politician is. This is about your Court of Appeal. It's the time where we need to change politics in this city and have somebody that's actually really qualified, has been on all sides of the law, and who does something in the community, who doesn't just talk about it. I started a reentry program, and people talk about the Fourth Circuit being a location where judges go to sort of pasture, and that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to ask the Louisiana Supreme Court when I'm elected to the Fourth Circuit to allow me to stay at Criminal District Court to continue to handle the reentry program. That way I'll have more time to handle it, if they will allow that, and perhaps a new judge, maybe the new Section D judge will take on reentry. We are saving lives by having judges with courage to stand up to a district attorney that overcharges, uses the multiple bill too often, and who insists on maximum sentences and maximum charges. This district attorney charges people in so many cases, and so many cases are going up because people are convicted. They are entitled to an appeal. There are many appeals and more appeals. Do look up that site she suggested, because you'll find that I'm correct. It's 65% of the filings. And who do you want looking at an appeal? You want a criminal law expert, not a civil lawyer that's never tried a case in criminal court, not a civil lawyer that's never even argued at the Fourth Circuit, I don't think I heard her say. And you sure don't want a hairdresser being a welder. So why would you put somebody at that court that doesn't know how to do welding? If you elect me, you will have a judge that's fair, honest, and completely independent, and able to do what's right under the law, even when it's not politically popular, but it's your family and it's important to you, and the law must be followed. And that's what each person that you elect should do. Thank you.
Thank you again for this forum. I am running because I believe that you need an appellate court judge who has served on a district court, not who has argued before the Fourth Circuit, but who has served on a district court and is one of the lowest reversal records in the building, not one of the highest. In terms of endorsements, let's talk about them for a second, because I competed along with Judge White for every endorsement that I received. We both competed for endorsements from, of all people, the district attorney, the constable, the coroner, the coroner, and every other person in the criminal justice system who interacts with Judge White on a daily basis. And after looking at both of us, they endorsed me instead. In addition, the reentry program was started by Arthur Hunter after he urged Congressman Cedric Richmond to give funding for that, and the congressman has also endorsed me. And I'm proud of those endorsements. I wear them well. They go right along with my very low reversal record. They go right along with my deep and broad background, and they go right along with my commitment to the understanding that I don't have personality conflicts in my courtroom. And why is that? Because it's not my seat. It's a seat created by the people, for the people. My mother reminded me of that at my swearing in, and I continue to keep those words at the forefront of my mind. As long as I understand that this seat is for the people, there can never be a personality conflict in my courtroom. And I can always and will always apply the law as I see it, and as obviously the Fourth Circuit has seen it, because they dare not reverse me, but very, very little. And I've never, not once, been reversed by the Louisiana Supreme Court. Not once has the Supreme Court told me that I've abused my discretion. And I think that that's what's important in this race. Who's done the job correctly, and who's ascending to the court, and the court that we're ascending to has told the judge, you've done the job correctly. Not, we're going to have to reverse you because you've not done the job correctly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, judges. Thank you all for coming. Thanks to the sponsoring organizations, and the forum is dismissed.
Hold on, Jim. Before we go, I just want to quickly say, and I know we all want to give the candidates, so we're just going to give it a quick second. We just want to thank the 7 Ward Community Center. This is a beautiful space, right? It's a beautiful space. Yeah. So we're going to please use this space. A lot of organizations. I want to thank all the candidates. We want to thank the moderators. They did an excellent job. Our moderators did an excellent job. The organizations that are sponsored. Most importantly, I want to thank you guys, part of the community. Please remember that early voting starts the 25th. And then the voting is on November 8th. And I can turn it this month.
Okay, so I want to thank Zach for videotaping this event. It's going to be on YouTube, on the Court Watch website, as well as all the other sponsors and organizations' websites. Also, it is downloaded for Facebook